Hey there, Hofstra fans, and welcome inside the WB Mason Coaches Report here on GoHofstra.com. I'm Julian Coultry, joined by the head coach of the Hofstra Pride baseball team, John Russo. Coach, how's it going?
Good, Julian. Thanks for having me.
Well, last week we mentioned the UNCW series, and you mentioned how key it was to go down there and perform well. You go down there, and you're able to win a couple of games there in a series against a very good team. What were your overall thoughts on how the weekend went?
Well, they have a really good team. They were picked number one in the conference, and they're as good opponents as we play all year. I think it's their first home series loss in the CAA since 2011. So, I talked to the team about, we needed to figure things out. And we were either going to figure out one way or the other. We were either going to get swept at Wilmington or we were going to go down there and battle. And, like I told them yesterday, who knew Wilmington, North Carolina is where all our problems have been, but that's where ours solved. And I was not so much I was just proud of the way we played. We really fought and played hard, and we weren't really that far out of winning Friday's game as much as the score looked. And I was just proud of all 3 days' effort. It's what I've been looking for all year, and finally got.
Now, the biggest thing, obviously, on the weekend is the pitching, the hitting. We'll talk about them in terms of difference. We'll start with the pitching. We'll start with the fact that the rotation gave you a couple of solid guys. David Jess performed really well. Kaz didn't do as great of a job, I guess, that you can hope. And would you like to see a little more from him? And then, obviously, DeRico returning to the rotation.
Well, we'll start with Kaz. He had Friday night. He had a rough start. I feel like I messed him up a little bit mentally in the first inning. We walked a kid, and Kaz has one mentality and one type of mentality only. That's go right at people, and to be honest, that's what I create with the whole team. So I probably made a mistake there doing that, and it flustered him in his outing some. But I thought he really battled well, and then Saturday DeRico went 5 innings and got the win, and I don't know when's the last time he's done that. And to be honest, I don't know how much he had, but I know one thing he was for sure, and that's tough. He put the ball over the plate, really challenged UNC Wilmington. We had like a 45-minute fourth inning where, we scored 8 runs and, he came back out and got a quick 1-2-3 inning. And that's what you're supposed to do when, your team does what he did. And, he had a really, really good start. And then, Jesh on Sunday, and he did that a lot his freshman year. We were 10-0 on his freshman year on Sundays when he was the Sunday pitcher. And, he's been good all season long, but, yesterday was just a tough outing. Just got in there, fought. At the end of it was like 109 pitches and 6 2/3 innings. And to be honest, you didn't know it was 109, but that's how much he battled. So it was really good.
Now let's talk about the bullpen, because obviously the big story on the weekend, Brett Schreiber becomes Hofstra's all-time career saves leader with his 15th. And there's been a couple of guys that on the back end have done that job. Ryan Verbitsky, obviously one of your closers, a couple of years, Jeff Guthridge. But what has Brett Schreiber meant to that back end in terms of being able to perform there and go out there and get those saves, even including this weekend where he put a couple guys on?
They talk a lot in coaching about having a bullet in the gun. You always want to have one bullet you can go to, and Brett Schreiber's that guy for us. And you can go to him on Friday night to close something out, probably be able to bring him back on Sunday to close a couple more innings out. And Brett's, he's our hired guy. When he gets in the game, we have a pretty good feeling. He's going to finish it for us. If not, he gives confidence to everybody he can get it done. Just yesterday with the bases loaded in the 8th, 1 out, wasn't looking great. And, strike out of a 5-hole hitter, Dunlap, that's been a really good hitter on the weekend, and a ground out. And then, bases loaded in the 9th yesterday, and their 3-hole hitter up and, got out of it. So, the thing I'm super proud of is he's really deserving of the record. He really wanted the record. I think it's hurt him a little bit, him knowing that it was sitting right there. He had a blown save down to Furman, I believe, and I don't think that had anything to cause with it, but, he starts thinking about it. Hey, if I would have got that one, I would have had the record already, or something of that nature. So I'm happy that he has that off of his plate, but, he's been great. For about 3 years now, he's been about as good a pitcher as there is in the league.
Now, let's talk about the offense in terms of what you guys were able to do on the weekend. Searching to find yourself a couple of games back, especially against JMU, and then, for example, just kind of comes alive in that second and third game. Third game, you guys didn't get a lot of hits, but you were able to score some runs, including a couple of innings where you didn't get any hits, but you put 2 runs on the board.
Coach Haynes, my assistant and Coach Cafiero, the other assistant, they've been working so hard with the hitters, and it's been a battle. And hitting as much as physically, it's a mental battle because it's hard to sell 3 of 10. It's hard to, it's a long season. You're going to have your ups and downs, and super proud of Coach Haynes and Coach Cafiero this week for getting it turned around. I mean, it started on Friday night. Matt Batts was as good as any pitcher we saw, but we had a lot of hits off him, a lot of good at-bats. We only put up 2 runs, but I felt it start to come, and then I wasn't so surprised by what happened on Saturday with the offensive output. And then, yesterday we had 1 hit through 7 innings. You had scored 2 runs, but it was good, fundamental baseball. Move a guy over. David Lederman moved a guy over to third base, and then he scores on a wild pitch. And, a guy, if he wasn't there, he doesn't score. And, a big, huge 1-out bases loaded hit by a freshman, Brad Witowski. At that time, we were 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Freshman off the bench, line drive single to give us the extra run, which turned out to be huge the last 2 innings. And, proud of a lot of guys across the board. I thought the whole offense stepped up. Proud of the coaches. Super big weekend from them.
Do you think you finally broken through that wall in terms of moving forward offensively now?
I gotta hope. I think mentally they're at the right place now. And so, I think if we can get some games in this weekend, Tuesday, Wednesday, keep it going, that'd be huge. I mean, at the end of the day, we've had so many games canceled. We're almost 10 games back of every team we're playing. And, that was one of my goals, was not to have. But with the cancellations, the rainouts, everything of that nature, we're behind. And, with hitting, with pitching, you just need more mound time and presence times. Tomorrow's looking like 80% chance of rain. We don't need tomorrow canceled. We need to play. Yeah. And, that's the thing we need to do, is keep them getting at bats. They don't need any more practice. They don't need any more BP. They need swings on the field. And, I'm hoping we'll be able to keep it going this week.
Let's focus on this week. And it finally seems, with the exception of tomorrow, with the chance of rain, that it's warming up here in New York. 60s, 70s in terms of great baseball weather. Midweek games, you mentioned it offensively, what you want to see. What do you want to see from the pitching staff in the midweek games?
We'll get another start from Eisenberg this week. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow or Wednesday. Want to see him continue on what he did last week. He went 5 innings, 3 hits, some strikeouts. And, want to have another good performance with him, keep building on what he's starting to work on. I'd like to get Brian McDonald out in one of these games to get him throwing. He hasn't thrown one in a while, and I feel like he's one of our better pitchers. Got a couple of guys from Luke Noon needs to get out on the mound this weekend. He wasn't. Kieran Ryan needs to get back out on the mound. Cody Norman. Some guys that, I think could help us on the weekend get going during some of these midweek games. And, Kevin Weishauser had a really good performance on Friday night. I'd like to get to see some of Brendan Mulligan, out there this week. There's guys that we have that we just, with these midweeks getting canceled, that we haven't gotten to see enough of. And, I have a lot of confidence that they'll be able to do it. We just need to play and, look forward to them.
Season, or CAA series, this weekend against Delaware at home. What do you want to see against the Fighting Blue Hens?
Oof, man, they give us a tough time every time they come in. They've been a really tough opponent for us. I know they have really good pitching. They got a guy, Dan Gatto, on Friday night that's been a 3-year guy. We used to face him a bunch 2 years ago. They've got a freshman that throw on Sunday that's been about as good as any freshman in the whole league. Got a couple guys in the lineup that definitely can hit the ball out. That's Delaware's thing. Going to be a real tough opponent, but 9 of our last 12 conference games are here at home, and we've got to try to win series. And I think if we can win 2 out of 3, that's the goal going into the weekend, and try to feed off of what we did this weekend.
Well, what do you got to do finally to win 2 out of 3?
I think a lot starts with Kaz on Friday night. Kaz got to come out and set the tone and try to get another good performance from Drico and Jesh. And, one of the kids talked about us winning with pitching and defense, and that's my goal, is what we wanted to do here. Hofstra's always been an offensive known team and not the greatest pitching in the world. Listen, in baseball, you're not going to win without good pitching, and, right now we have some good pitching going. And so it'll start on the mound on Friday night and continue that way Saturday and Sunday with David and David.
Coach, thanks so much for the time. Hofstra against Delaware this weekend. Come out to University Field to check it out. And remember, you can tune into the WB Mason Coaches Report each and every week, only on GoHofstra.com.
thank you. I might have called you